Nice try. Okay, this video camera's a one. All right. I did not. That's all I'm saying. I was not there. Okay, here we go. So we're now going to jump in. Let's see the evidence. Okay, good. Gentlemen, I really normally need about an hour for this. We're going to do it. Shut that light. Shut that light. We're going to do it in 25 minutes. If you stay with me, is anyone here English is not your first language? Raise your hand. English is not your first language? Okay. What is it? Farsi or something like that? Farsi. You messing with me?
No.
You really speak Farsi?
Yeah.
Really? How do you say satellite dish?
Okay.
That's what I thought. Another language is not your first language. What do you got?
Russian.
Russian?
Yeah.
You understand me though?
Yeah.
Хорошо. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna let's go. Let's go. Wait up. Here we go. You're looking for it. Up a little. We're up. Okay, here we go.
This guy's good.
Oh, I just said
Louder.
There we go. All right. So I don't know. Does this help? Does it really help? No. Okay. All right. So now this is the way we're going to figure out how do we know that actually this book, which is called the Torah, actually came from the Lord. Praise be His name. Hallelujah. So we're going to go with a little conversation. This class is known as the 7 Wonders of Jewish History, and I will give you a little insight in the background of why we call it the 7 Wonders of Jewish History. Is simply because you love Goyim. And being that you love Goyim, if I were to tell you, the Rambam says, you're like, I don't care. But if I tell you, Mark Twain, you're like, who? A Goyim? I'm listening. So we have to get you enamored by calling it the 7 Wonders of the World, the 7 Wonders of the Ancient World, the 7 Wonders of the Modern World, the 7 Shabbos Mike, the 7 Wonders of Jewish History. So that's what it's called. We're going to take a look one by one, and you are going to be the judges whether or not you believe that actually this is accurate, and that you think that this is sufficient evidence to show that actually this book called the Torah comes from Hashem. Who here has a friend that has ever asked, how do I know that the Torah actually came from Hashem? Raise your hand. If it's you, keep your hand up. Good. Now, so let's keep going. So we're going to now take a look and see a conversation which went on way back in the day, and that's between 2 guys, one by the name of King Louis XIV, the other by the name of Blaise Pascal. Maybe some of you know Blaise, but you're not familiar with Pascal. Now, this King Louis XIV, slowly you'll get there. Somebody like, yeah. Okay, so King Louis XIV was what we call agnostic. Agnostic means the following. I don't know. Maybe there is a God, maybe there isn't God. I'm not sure. He was not so audacious to say, I'm an atheist, which for anyone who keeps that title, I'm sorry to hear that you are very unintelligent. But to say I'm an atheist means I know there is no God. You cannot say that unless you are simultaneously everywhere in the world, both physically and metaphysically. Being that that's not the case, the best case you could say is I'm not convinced, I'm not compelled, I'm not sure. But to say there isn't is a silly statement. Do you get what I just said? Okay, good, moving along. So agnostic means, I don't know, maybe this, maybe this. King Louis, agnostic. Pascal, Christian mathematician and philosopher. Very much believe, if you know Pascal's triangle, Pascal's theorem, you know, you're a very mathematician. If you know Pascal's wager, you know philosophy. Very much believed in a God. So one day they're having this conversation. How do you know there's a God? This is how you know. How do you know? This is how you know. How do you know? This is how you know. So finally he's like, all right, enough. Pascal, I want you to give me clear evidence of a supernatural force. He says, you want clear evidence of a supernatural force? Guy, read the bottom line. Read the bottom line. The bottom line. What does that mean? And he responded?
The Jews.
The Jews. You want to know evidence of a supernatural force? The Jews, Your Majesty. What does a Christian philosopher mean when he says, if you want evidence of a supernatural force, the Jews? How many of you look at yourselves, you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, you go, supernatural. You probably go like, supernatural. And then you realize it's your roommate. But how many times in scenarios like this, the answer is, what is supernatural about us? What's the answer? Good answer. But another answer is the fact that we still exist today. Let me give you a quote from the Rambam. Forget that. Mark Twain. Listen to what Mark Twain says. The Egyptian, the Babylonian, and the Persian rose, filled the planet with sound and splendid and dreamed and faded to dream stuff and passed away. The Greek and the Roman followed and made a vast noise, and they are gone. Other people have sprung up and have grown high for a time, but have burned out and they sit in twilight now or vanished. The Jews saw them all, beat him all. And is that what he always was? All things are mortal but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality? I'll give you one more quote. Does anyone know somebody named Leo? Leo. Do you know somebody named Leo? I want you to picture a Leo. Picture a Leo. Is that what you are picturing? You know what? If you can get a mic, it'll be helpful. It's going to be a little helpful. All right, so there's a guy named Leo Tolstoy Nikolaevich who was a writer. He was a Christian, a Jewish writer, and he says the following: the Jew is the emblem of eternity. He who neither slaughtered nor tortured thousands of years could destroy. He who neither fire nor sword nor inquisition was able to wipe off the face of the earth. He who made the first to produce the oracle of God. He who has been for so long the guardian of prophecy and transmitted to the rest of the world. Such a nation cannot be destroyed. The Jew is as everlasting as is eternity. The fact that we still exist, my friends. I'm going to switch the things here. I'll switch it. There's another one over here. Don't switch them. I won't switch them. Did you hear it? Right? The fact that the Jewish people. I'm switching it. Oh, touchdown. I heard a thing.
The other one was working also.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. All right, now. So the Jew is as everlasting. Good, you're good, Rabbi. Excellent. Thank you, Rabbi. The Jew is as everlasting as eternity. Now, what does it mean? The fact that we exist, that in of itself, my friends, is unbelievable. But it's not even more just unbelievable. It's quite supernatural. And we take a look and we understand this fact. What does that mean? We still here after all these years of people trying to get rid of us, kill us, destroy us, everything. It's amazing. Now I'm going to share with you an idea. Like I said, the class called the 7 Wonders of Jewish History. We're going to go through 7 different prophecies, and you're going to be the ones that decide whether you think this is really as it is. Are you okay with me speaking quickly? Any objections? No objections? Okay, good. So I'm going to go quick. It's going to go quite quick. There's some slides here I'm going to skip because they're going to be redundant. If you want information on this, and you're one of the writers, you like to write a lot, put your pen down. I'm going to give you afterwards a website where you can find all of this. So chill. Just actually sit back, enjoy the ride. Here we go. So this is number 1. This thing called the Torah, it either came from a god, and there are those that believe that, that's fine. You believe that? And then there are others that know that actually it was made up. There's no such thing called Torah, there's no such thing called Judaism, there's no such thing from God, there's actually just an individual who decided to make it up, an individual, group of individuals that came together and decided to make it up. Those are 2 options. Is there a third option I'm not aware of? Okay, good. That was an excellent, nice. Now, the answer is it's either a supernatural God or it's an individual group of individuals. Everybody got that? And when I say God, I mean, yeah, through Moshe, etc., but I mean God himself is the one who it's coming from. So did it come from God or did it come from an individual group of individuals? I am going to try to show you over the next 20 minutes or so that this book called the Torah actually came from an individual or a group of individuals. It was totally made up. There is no God. If I succeed in that, then you could all leave yeshiva. If I don't succeed, foreshadow. If I don't succeed, foreshadow. If I don't succeed, I'm not going to. If I don't succeed, maybe the reason I'm not going to succeed is because it actually did come from the supernatural or from God himself. You cannot leave in the middle of this presentation. You have to hear the whole thing. Okay? So it didn't come from God. Great. No, it's saying, chill. Here we go. So Pete, here we go. This is the model. The model is, I'm going to show you that actually there is no God, there is no Torah, and I'm going to show you how this works. Ready? Here we go. Try to imagine for a second there's no God. Okay, that was quick. Now, try to imagine the following. I call you all together. Guys, I want to start a religion. Okay. So you say, all right, great. You'll be the committee. I'll be me. Okay? You'll be the committee. I want to start a religion. I want to call it Judaism. There's always one. Why Judaism? Because I had a cat named Judaism. Back off. All right? So I go ahead. I want to start this religion. I'm going to call it Judaism. And I need a prophecy, because what's a religion without a prophecy? You know what I'm saying? I got to come out, go big, and go home. So we're going to start off that we're going to be an eternal nation. Is that a good opening pitch to get people to join? Yes or no? Yeah. Good, eternal nation. Now, where do we actually have this prophesied? Cue the sound effects. Going further. Now, if you take a look over here, we have Genesis 17:7. I'm going to read from the English. If you want, you can read from the Hebrew, but who are you kidding? Now, and I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you throughout the generations, an eternal covenant to be the God, to be your God and the God that descends after. Eternal covenant, for those unfamiliar, eternal means forever. It's going to be forever. We're going to have this relationship, this covenant forever. Or another quote that we have over here in Leviticus would be Vayikra, the 3rd book of the 5 books. Thus, even while they're in the land of their enemies, I will not reject or obliterate them, lest I break my covenant with them by destroying them, for I am the Lord their God. I will remember them because of the covenants I made with the original ancestors who I brought into the land of Egypt and the 7 nations, so I might be their God. So we find, my friends, that actually it is prophesied in the Holy Book that we are going to be an eternal nation. So it's not just a good sales pitch, we actually find it somewhere that's actually prophesied it's going to happen. But that's my book that I wrote, you understand? I'm the one that wrote this book. Now, so far so good. Now, if I wanted to back this up, if any of you were investors, and I was coming for an investment, if you were intelligent and you were really my committee, you would ask me, how are you going to guarantee that we're going to be an eternal nation? Good question. How are you going to guarantee? So I'm going to try to back myself up. Let's take a look. You know, people have, let's say, their eternal national homelands. You know, you got England, America, and there's another country, I think. Right? So you have, people have their, you don't know either. People have their eternal national homelands in Scotland or something. People have their eternal national homelands, and we will have also our own eternal national homelands. We will live there, and we will never leave that land. Is that a good beginning to guarantee that we are going to be forever? Yes or no? A good beginning. You might ask me how you're going to guarantee that, but don't worry. I have a way to back up that we're going to be an eternal nation. Get ready for my next prophecy. We will be an eternal nation. I will back it up with the following, and that is my next prophecy of exile and dispersion. Does this support eternal nation? No. If I were to tell you guys, I got a great idea. Okay, we're going to eternal nation. We're going to exile and disperse. It's great. Like, dude, what are you? Huh? But where do we find this? Where do we find this actually said? This is just a small list of places that we've been exiled from. France, Bavaria, and Arab lands. Okay, if you search and you look, you will find it. We've been chucked time after time, but God will be waiting over and over and over. We've been chucked from land after land after land after land. Where do we find actually prophesies this is going to happen? Take a look at it again, we see it. And you I will scatter among the nations at the point of my drawn sword, leaving your country desolate, your city in ruins. Or another quote over here from Leviticus, which we're skipping no time. Point is that we are going to be exiled and dispersed. Does exile and dispersion support number 1 or not? Not. That would be strike number. Okay, slowly we'll get there. Strike number 1. There you go. But there's the 2. I don't understand. Okay, so number 1 was the first prophecy. Number 2 is the second one. And number 2 is a strike on number 1. Hence, number 1. Okay, no. Pero, you're going to be thinking to yourself, now hold on a second. That's all you got, Friedman. That's all you got. We out. Nah, dude, he's them all out. We ain't staying here. You got nothing to back us up. People don't leave. I have an idea. Even though we exile and disperse, I have a plan to make sure we're going to exist. Let's look at other people who've been around for a very long time and use their methodology. India, China, Japan, they've been around for thousands of years. Let's start with Japan. How was it that Japan survived for so long? Anyone?
They eat dogs.
They eat dogs? Okay, they eat dogs. One answer. Excellent. I'm not thinking it's wrong. But another one. I don't have another answer. Good. Japan is in the middle of Japan. You see, if you want to get to Japan, you got to travel pretty far. It's not like, hey, let's just go to Japan. It doesn't work like that. You see, you got to get on a thing. You got to get on a boat if you want to make your way all the way to Japan. Right? So realize that's the thing. Maybe the reason why Japan survived for so long is simply because they are a desolate place. In the middle of that desolate, in the middle of nowhere. So maybe we should do that also. We will make our land just like Japan. And we'll be in the middle of nowhere. And that's why Israel is like that. It's in the middle of nowhere. But wait a minute, that's not true. You see, if you wanted back in the day to travel between 3 different continents, I know it's a big word, but 3 different continents, Antarctica, Australia, and New Zealand, which is not a continent, none of those have to do with this conversation. But if you wanted to hit Africa, Asia, and Europe, you had to go through Jerusalem. Do you know that Jerusalem is the most conquered city in the world? It's been conquered in upwards of 1 million times. That's impossible. About 36. About 36 times. It's been conquered and reconquered and reconquered. If anybody here went, let's say, on the tunnel, nothing's impossible if you believe. Hashem loves you. Now, understand the tunnel. Yeah? You shut it down. You'll get there. Now listen, the way that it works, if you're going to tunnel tours, you've seen how they do build the bomb, 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 build the bomb. I think 8 times, I think one more than I said, but you do it over and over again. So we clearly didn't use Japan's methodology. What about India and China? Don't get confused by Nepal. How was it that India and China, how did they survive for so long? What's the answer? Correct. People. There are just so many people. Imagine, there's like 1 billion people there. China's chilling, eating their... Oh, Japan's the dogs. So China, what do they eat?
Dog stew.
Dog stew. And there they are, eating their white rice. And as they're eating it, they see like America coming with an army of 1 million strong. They have 1 billion people. overcome white man pasta-wise. What do they care? Just keep going life. You cannot overcome this amazing phenomenon. You try to overcome China or India, you become Indian and Chinese. It's just too much. Okay, what about the Ottoman Empire? Good question. It was a little area that they had, but then they fell eventually because there's too many of them. So let's say the same thing. I think the prophecy that even though the exile dispersed, I know how we'll survive. Ready? We will be few in number. Good? Does that support number one? No. Not really. Let's take a little look at I got look at this. Says the Bible, whenever you're ready. And you shall remain few in number among the nations where God shall lead you. Now there's always someone say, well, doesn't that say you're going to be like the stars in the sky? Like what happened to that verse? So it says the following. You shall remain few in number, whereas you could have become as numerous as the stars in the heavens, because if you would not obey the voice of the Lord your God. This is the voice of the Lord your God. Right, to realize the fact that we're going to actually be here, that's not contingent. How many we're going to be? Contingent. Maybe it'll be one, maybe thousands, but the millions. But the point is the fact that we exist will always be here. Few in number. Few in number, not exactly makes so much sense. I mean, what's the first mitzvah in the Torah? Right? Peru or food. Be fruitful and multiply, might I add, with your spouse. Now, listen to this. Be fruitful and multiply. So you should know this. I mean, take a look. The average sex of the couple is between 1.2 kids and a dog. I know what you're thinking, where's the 0.2? Now, the average ultra-Orthodox family is between 14 and 36 children. Now, if you put that together, what do we have? We have ancient people. We got a high birth rate. We should have many, many Jews. But how many Jews are we actually? Let's take a look at a little graphic right. So we know that in the year 200 BCE, this is an accurate number, that is, at least now it's a little higher, but in the year 200 BCE there were 30 million. The population of China was 30 million people. A lot of dogs, right? The Germans, 30 million, that's for you, right? 30 million people. 30 million people. Now, today, there are 1.3 billion. It's not accurate, there's more than that. More than 1.3 billion. Let's take a look at the following. This number is accurate and inaccurate. You see, this is correct. In the year 1 CE, the Jewish people were between 6 and 8 million people. If we would take the same growth rate as China, with all the euthanasia, if we take the same growth rate, we should be somewhere, that's an intelligent joke, we would be somewhere between 200 and 700 million Jews. That's how many Jews we should have today. How many are we though? Take a look at that graph. Yeah, about 14 million. 14 million Jews, my friends. So, I mean, let's take a look at a pie chart, because let's face it, we all love pie. We know that 20% of the world population, China, 19% India. Jews. Now that's not accurate, it's actually 0.02. This is why you have every Jewish woman going, can I get a little sliver, just a little sliver, just a little sliver? Because that happens. I mean, I watch this one, this woman goes, can I get a sliver? Someone cut a sliver, she goes, thanks, she took the rest of the cake and walked away. That's essentially what we have over here, is that the Jewish people were just so few in number, people. Understand this idea? This would be strike number. You got number 2. Excellent, thanks for playing. Okay, what was that about England? Okay, so now, few in number, strike number 2. This is no. Okay, no, we're not doing that. Wouldn't do it. Okay, the whole thing. Okay, I want to leave that one out. Arabic could be. Okay, now realize the fact that we're going to be exiled this person. We're going to few in number. Is this a good recipe for a religion? Yes or no? Not so much, but don't worry. Thank you, committee, for still staying with me. I have a plan. Even though we'll be few in number, and even though we will be exiled throughout the world, I have a plan to make sure that we will survive, and that plan is that everyone will hate us. Good plan? Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look and see. Good plan. So we have one quote over here, which is in Deuteronomy, which is the verb, the last of the 5 books. And those of you who survive in the lands of your enemies, shall make so faint-hearted that if the leaves also behind them, they'll flee headlong as if from the sword. And no one pursues them, stumbling over one another as if to escape the weapon, when no one is after them. So helpless, helpless, helpless. We need to take a stand against our foes. You shall perish among the nations, the land of your enemies shall consume you. A lovely bedtime story. Sweet nightmares. Anyway, the point is that we start to see, this is another quote again, fighter. Now we start to see the idea that indeed we are going to be hated. Everyone's going to hate us. But you want to know the number 1 all straight out answer? You'll see in a second. But the number 1 answer, otherwise known as the number 2 answer, would be from the Gemara in Shabbos, page Pei Tes Amud Aleph. If you're from the Tet types of Pei Tet Amud Aleph. So take a look at Pei Tet Amud Aleph from the bottom of the Gemara. Pei Tet Amud Aleph says like this: My Har Tinai. What is Har Sinai? I want to make everyone feel comfortable. Now, all the Klal Yisrael have to be in Achud. Now, you gotta know the spell for that one. My Har Sinai. What is Har Sinai? In other words, why is Har Sinai called Har Sinai? Says the Gemara, you know why? Har Sheyorda Sida Lakum. It is a mountain that hatred came down to the Jewish people. We have been hated from our inception. We've been hated from our inception. I know some of you are thinking, hold on 1 second. That says Samach Yud Nun Yud, now it says Sin Nun Aleph Hey. How do you play that game? Hold on, play it out. What are you telling me that? It's spelled differently. The reason it's spelled differently is because one is Hebrew, one is Aramaic. For those of you who learn Shnai Mikra, again next year, Mitzvah Shem, you'll know what that means. So then you'll get to the idea that one of them is Aramaic, one of them is Hebrew. The word for hatred in Aramaic is Sinai. So we see over here that from our inception we're hated. Unbelievable, the idea. Okay, I really want to skip through this because, hey, no, let's do it. Listen, if you hate black people, you guys are a bunch of racists. What are you called? A racist. If you hate white people, what are you called? A racist. If you hate Arabs, what are you called?
Normal.
Racist. If you hate Asians, what are you called? Racist. If you hate Jews, what are you called?
A nice guy.
Isn't that lovely? We have our own special word. Anti-Semitism. What is anti-Semitism? Well, simply put, anti-Semitism, anti-noun. Discrimination against, or prejudice or hostility toward Jews. Very specific to Jews. Now, there's always one smart guy in the room who goes, well, technically speaking, etymologically speaking, that is. If you take a look at the word itself, it says anti-Semite. And Semite comes from same. Same in Hebrew would be Shem. We know that Shem had 3 kids. Well, he was one of 3, actually. Shem, Ham, and Yafat. And if you take a look over there, Shem is the propagator and the father of the Jewish people. So if you're an anti-Semite, as we say in Hebrew, anti-Shemiyut, that means you're against shame. Where do the Arabs come from? Shame. If you hate Arabs, what are you called?
Racist.
Why aren't you called an anti-Semite? You should be based off that word itself, right? Only one problem, and that is that the origin of the word is not where it comes from, although it does sound similar. There was a German journalist by the name of Wilhelm Marr in 1879 who said there's such a hatred towards Jews, as early as in the 1800s, such a hatred that it needs its own word. And he created a word called anti-Semitism, which was created specifically for the Jews. There's a lot of words that are created just for us. Pogrom, Jews. Holocaust, Greek in origin. Holocaust, but made originally just for Jews. Genocide, Jews. Ghetto, Jews. Money, ghetto. Point is, and so we find the fact that we are hated. We are hated all over the place. And okay, you got this idea, nice quote, beautiful. Now, the uniqueness of the Jewish people, universality, who around the world, that, okay, Viter, everybody hates us. Now, intensity, how much are we hated? Slide doesn't work. Now, that is a lot. We are hated a lot. How long have we been hated? A long time. And last but not least, we have the idea of irrationality. You can ask one person twice why you hate us, and they'll tell us, you know why? Because they're rich. No, but really, why do you hate them? Because they're poor. Well, hold on, which one is it? No, they're beautiful, they're ugly, different, the same, powerful, weak, dominant, passive leaders, followers, social Catholics, cake monarchists, conservatives, my favorite, the religious fanatics, those atheists. Right, so they go ahead and find whether it's one person you're asking twice. I went too quick for this thing to load. Whether you're trying to find out from one person or you're trying to find every generation, blames the Jew before. Every time there's a problem, the problem is the Jew. Right, but I think the number one study that's ever done on anti-Semitism was done by a Professor Cohen. Some of you might be familiar with him. Came along and said the following idea. This is, it's good, it's very nice, look at your page. Okay, now, Professor Cohen comes along, this for those unfamiliar. Who's from England? Any English people in the room? Where are you from? You? You? 2 Londons, 1 monk, anyone else? Where you got? London. So sorry. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. You and me both, friends. Yeah. Okay, so anyway. You're from Mosside? The Mosside area? Yeah, you're right. Okay, now, so anyway, so from the London boys, perhaps you've met Professor Cohen. Is that right? You met him in Shul, Yom Kippur. Right, so anyway, he chills, he's a Jewish guy. And why does he do what he does? What he does, for those who are unfamiliar with who he is, there's still hope for mankind. If you don't know, I guess it's all over. But this guy comes along, he wanted to show, he makes a lot of television shows and movies about, basically they're all anti-Semitic. And he wanted to show something. He started in college, or as they call their home country, university, or uni. And he started at uni in order to do something, and that is he wanted to show that there's such a hatred towards Jews, even if people don't know what a Jew is. His grandfather survived a little camp, you may have heard of Auschwitz, and he wanted to show that people hate Jews, even if they don't know. That's when he came out with this hit single, Throw the Jew Down the Well. Right? And essentially, he goes out there, starts singing negative, everyone starts picking up on the idea about hate the Jewish people. Get out of that mustache, come on. Now, we start to see, my friends, anti-Semitism. If I were trying to pitch this to you, we're going to be an eternal nation. We'll be exiled in the dispersed, we'll be few in number, everyone will hate us. Would you think this is a good plan? Yes or no? Not at all. Do you think this is going to go off the ground? Do you think I could predict this? Not at all. So my friends, this would be strike number 3. Catch an arm. Everyone's like, well, the number before the one after. Okay, good. Right, so strike number 3. Now, what would you expect from such a people? You're going to start a religion? You'll get there slowly. What would you be thinking?
That guy's a genius.
That guy must know something. Something's going on over here. Now, do you agree that the fact that the ground should open up on its own and 10 golden chariots should pop out, phenomenal, yes or no? What takes it above and beyond, though? Someone predicted it's going to happen even beforehand. Let me ask you a question. Exile dispersion. How many peoples have been exiled and survived? That's correct. None. Well, what about us, okay? Besides us, none. The fact that we still exist after being exiled, do you see that to be phenomenal, yes or no? The fact that we are few in number, yet we still exist, do you see how that's phenomenal by itself? The fact that everybody wants to kill us, the whole world is loco, everybody wants to destroy us, to realize that in and of itself is phenomenal. The fact with all that, we should go instead at 5, we're going to be 11 to 1, it doesn't make any sense. And then whoever into the band, that's a connection with us and the land of Israel, and after that we're going to no, my friends, it makes no sense. Put them all together, that's just, come on. All of these should happen together to one people. That is illogical, and it doesn't make any sense. What puts it above and beyond? The fact that all this was predicted before it actually happened. Do you realize that we are looking back in history now? I'm hoping you guys understand how phenomenal this idea is. What that means is we're taking a step back and we're looking throughout all of history and we're looking at the idea of the following. And we're saying, hey, look at this. Someone predicted this would happen. They weren't vague, random things. They're quite specific. And they happened exactly as they said they were going to happen. No one in the right mind would do that because it goes against any logic. And yet it all came to fruition. Probably this was written by a person. Or maybe the reason why this could actually happen is because this was not written by an individual or group of individuals. But the only one that could have wrote this book called the Torah is none other than God himself. Gents and gents, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for being here. I'll be around maybe a little bit.